Located on 225 acres in Garden City, Long Island, Nassau Community College, a member of the State University of New York system, has close to 20,000 students attend the school each year. The college mascot is Leo the Lion, and these are his stories of the school's absolute best and brightest who have graduated over the past 50-plus years. Let's catch up together as the Alumni Association of Nassau Community College proudly presents Lion Tales, a Nassau Community College Foundation production on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome to Lion Tales, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation. My name is Aurora Workman. I am president of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association. I'm here with my friend and co-host, Dr. Lynnda Nadien, a proud graduate of Nassau Community College, and together we'll share stories that will inspire, uplift, and often amuse you.
Each week, Aurora and I will introduce you to alumni of Nassau Community College interested in sharing their experiences here at Nassau Community College, along with the secrets to their success.
And we have a great shout out because in a few years here as head coach, Jamal Ramsey has 2 winning seasons, and Nassau Community College went to a bowl game and played in the Red Grange Bowl on the campus of DuPage College in Illinois. Nassau Community College defeated Northland Pioneers of Minnesota 46-6 in the Red Grange Bowl. With the bowl win, Nassau Community College is now ranked 20th in the nation. Go Lions.
Look for many new and exciting events on the Alumni Association social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and our web pages at www.nassaucommunitycollege.edu/alumni. If you, our listening audience, has any positive news you would like to share about Nassau Community College alumni, engagements, births, graduations, weddings, and/or accolades, email us at alumni@nassaucommunitycollege.edu and we will shout you out.
Well, today's guest is Kenny Botchway, a patient access representative over at New York University Winthrop Hospital, who just this year graduated from St. John's University as well with his bachelor's in healthcare administration, and of course, a proud graduate of Nassau Community College. Welcome to Lion Tales, Kenny Botchway, class of 2016.
Thank you for having me.
So, Kenny, you almost simultaneously began working at the hospital and attending Nassau Community College at the same time. Tell us about that.
So it was about the beginning to the summer of 2014, and I had to leave my job due to an illness in the family. So at that time, I was just trying to figure out what was my next step, and I just felt this voice. I mean, naturally, it was probably God, but I just felt this urge to go back to school. I had stopped going back to school a few years prior, and I just knew that there was still unfinished business that I had to attend to. So I made the decision to go back to a school, and I ended up at Nassau Community College.
Mm-hmm. And then, did you already know what you wanted to do with your life before attending Nassau Community College? Were you thinking about it?
I knew it was probably going to be in healthcare in some form or fashion. I was familiar with it because my mother works in healthcare, so I already had a strong introduction into the field. So I knew that with my personality, healthcare was one of the options that I had, and I kind of just graduated over there and into that area. Yeah. So basically, I knew that it was going to be some form of healthcare. I just didn't know specifically where.
Mm-hmm. Were you looking at the administrative roles, or were you looking more towards the caregiving role?
I actually wasn't. I was actually looking towards the caregiving role, probably because it's just easier. Mm-hmm. It's easier to help with physical ailments and stuff like that. But I was kind of unaware of how much goes into the administrative side, and so once I learned more information about that, that's when it definitely grabbed my interest. It made me take a look at it.
And we have a lot of students right now that are juggling school and work, and what advice would you have for them, and how did you manage all of that?
It wasn't easy, and I don't want anybody to think that it is easy. It's going to be hard work. Yeah. I think the key is there's 2 keys actually. I think one is balance, and the other key is to be extremely organized. If you don't set time aside for certain things, then you're going to always end up playing catch up. And so what happens is that a lot of times, if you don't set the time aside to study or to do homework or to do your required reading, a lot of times it creeps upon you. So if you have a deadline to meet, it'll be the day before, or maybe even 2 days or 3 days before you realize, oh man, I haven't done my required reading yet, or I haven't done my assignment or even finished my assignment, and now you're scrambling and you're not putting your best effort towards it because now you're in a rush. So the key for me is to understand that it's hard work and that it takes time, and then the other key is just make sure you have a set schedule.
Right. Did you find, like, first semester you were sort of being semi-organized, and then the next semester it was a lot better because you really kind of knew a little bit better about what you were doing?
Yeah, exactly. My first semester, I kind of tried to wing it. And about halfway through the semester, I realized
I felt
kind of overwhelmed. Yeah, exactly. So I felt kind of overwhelmed, and I realized something's got to give. And I actually made time and designated, this time to do this class's work, and this time to do reading, and then also setting aside time to just breathe and just understanding where you are.
That's so
and
important.
That's part of
too.
the time management is that time for self-care has to be in there. A lot of people look at time management, and some have, I always say life interrupts, but if your life is your kids or your home or your family and your church, and then you're throwing in school with it, then you have to prioritize.
Exactly.
And when you have a goal for yourself set, such as school, well, that becomes difficult as a student.
No, definitely. One thing that works for me, one strategy that works for me, is that I break down things in increments. So the average semester is about 17 weeks. If you have a class once or twice a week, so let's say twice a week, that's about 34 classes. And so you literally have to get through 34 classes. I don't mean to make it sound like it's that hard of a task that you have to get through it, but if you want to just break it down and make it easier to process, 34 classes, you take it class by class, and before you know it, you're already at 15, you're already at 25, and before you know it, it's finals week.
Yeah, I love the fact that I know that through Nassau Community College, having, being a graduate from here, I know that having it sort of written out for me exactly what I needed to do for each semester was so helpful, because it said do this and this and this, and then you get here, and then the same thing next semester. So I always felt confident, like checking it off, that I completed this course and I know I could move to the next one, and that helps so much.
Yeah, I think that it's such a great help to be able to look at your requirements online and just see that where you stand and understand how much work is ahead of you and how far you've come, even to just recognize, all right, I've put in 2 semesters already, and this is what I've accomplished so far, and what my goals are going forward. Maybe I want to achieve a higher GPA going forward.
You are listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I am Aurora Workman, along with Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Kenny Botchway, Patient Access Representative over at NYU Winthrop Hospital and a proud alum of Nassau Community College. So, Kenny, you have been here, and one of the things before we continue on with what Patient Access Representative entails, because you are working at one of the most nationally recognized institutions ever. So patient access, when people say, oh, you're from Winthrop, or you're from NYU Winthrop, patient access becomes elevated, and there's some expectations that I have of you. Okay, there's some expectations that I have of you just because I know I'm going to this institution because of its nationally renowned. So tell us about that position.
So patient access is regarded as the first line. So when you first enter a hospital, whether it be through the ER or through another form or maybe a specific department, generally you meet a patient access representative, and that person is the one to gather your information, make sure all your demographic information is correct, make sure that the insurance that we have on file is correct and still valid. I think that what goes understated is the value of that, because that goes along with the level of care. The last thing you want to do is be treated for an ailment or whatever the case may be, and then find out that there was an insurance issue, or find out that your insurance has a debate about something, or they're trying to deny you coverage. And that's where we come in to make sure that everything is correct on our end, and to make sure also that your insurance covers what you're coming in for. You just want to be aware of everything that comes with this.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you guys are like the front line, support. So when we meet you, we're not breathing or grasping out.
Exactly.
Really.
People come in. If people are brought in by ambulance or they're brought in incoherent, and then you have to sort of organize their paperwork. How do you deal with that?
Well, that more so is the ER. I'm not exactly in the emergency room department, but in those type of issues, we go to other resources, such as maybe if they're part of our RIO system, where the RIO system is a system where it covers most of the hospitals in Long Island that share the patient's health information. So it makes it a little easier in events like that, where we can just go on the RIO portal and then find out a patient's information. Also, sometimes they come in with family members that are able to provide us with information, and then otherwise we would go about it through various channels of trying to identify a patient.
Yeah. And do you recommend, I've been seeing this a lot, the patient portals, where they even give you a survey after you leave if you do go through the ER, if you are spending any time in the hospital when you come out. Has that been helpful to the hospital in terms of, public relations and developing relationships with people that have been patients?
Absolutely. Maybe about 2 months ago, my supervisor called me into her office, and unbeknownst to me, a patient got a survey in the mail and named me by name as part of the care that they received. So, it's nice to receive a pat on the back, but then more importantly, you just want to know where you can be better. And the worst thing that people can do is leave a place and not tell the place how they can be better or where they fell short.
Right. Because
then what happens is that they go and they spread the word that, I didn't receive the care, but the problem is the care doesn't get better because nobody knows about it. Well, I won't say nobody knows about it, they're just telling the wrong people. They're telling their friends and family instead of the actual institution, so that way the institution can fix those policies or wherever they fell short at.
And the feedback is good, again, to just make it all better for the next people coming through, because it's being in a hospital can be a very tense situation for people, and they become fearful, so you want to calm their nerves.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, because you're like, I'm like, how do you keep that composure? I mean, you've been in the healthcare industry for 10 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And at the hospital for 4. And so there's some things you've seen coming through those doors. But
absolutely.
How do you keep your composure as you will be considered their in-house first responder?
Well, one of the things that NYU Winthrop does that is so great about it is that they educate us a lot. So even during orientation, they show us a video about just understanding what people are going through. And in the video, people are walking through a hospital lobby, and written above them is whatever they're going through, whether it be just lost a loved one, or just found out some bad news, or just found out great news. But the point of the video is to show that you never know what anybody's going through, because any of those people, you can't tell just by looking at them. And I think in healthcare overall, we have to understand that people are going through different things. I've had incidents where I remember specifically where I had a gentleman call me. He wanted information on his wife. His wife was very ill, and he called me, and I couldn't provide the information to him, unfortunately. And he got upset, and he let me have it. He let me have it, and I took it on the shoulder, and I tried to talk to him the best way I could, and the next day he actually called to apologize, which I wasn't asking it for, but it was nice to have. And he explained to me that it was just tough, nice. Seeing his wife in pain, and he just couldn't handle it. But it's our job to understand that not everybody's able to express the way we want them to express what's going on.
Right. Yeah. And that was nothing, because I know Winthrop by far and large does a lot of training, and on every aspect of their hirees, there are training mechanisms. So how comfortable do you feel in going to, in that role or going into a next role?
I feel very comfortable. one of the things that I take pride in is learning how I can be better and applying it to the future. So it may not necessarily be the role that I'm in now, but I think everything from when I was a kid up till now applies in life as a whole, and especially what I learned at Nassau, what I've learned at St. John's, what I've learned at Winthrop. It all applies to some area of my career.
You are listening to Lion Tales. Today's guest, former alumnus of Nassau Community College and currently working as the patient access representative over at New York University Winthrop Hospital, Kenny Botchway. My name is Lynnda Nadien, along with Aurora Workman, on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome back to the Dog Show. Up next, we have Satchmo. Satchmo is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right, a group known especially for their couch-snuggling, ball-chasing, face-licking, tail-wagging, backyard-hanging, and, of course, companionship.
And what breed would you say Satchmo is?
I'd have to go with maybe a lavish terrier-hound chihuahua-looking kind of mix.
Tremendous dog.
I'd also like to point out Satchmo's coloring, a white, gray, brown, black brindle, simply marvelous.
You know, it's such a treat to watch a dog like this.
Now, let's see him in action.
Look how he makes eye contact with his person.
That's actually known as the treat stare.
How intuitive. And now he appears to be excitedly turning in circles.
Ah, the happy dance, so common with this group.
And finally, the loving face lick.
It's great how he just gets in there and, well, licks.
Fantastic. But really, the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Satchmo is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Lion Tales, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation, on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Dr. Lynnda Nadien, along with Aurora Workman, and our guest today is Kenny Botchway, former graduate of Nassau Community College, who went on to receive his Bachelor's in Healthcare Administration from St. John's University and currently working at New York University Winthrop Hospital as the patient access representative. So you've been working in patient care for many years, and as well as having now attained your degrees in the same field. So what is that like? What is it that you like most about the patient care? Because it does seem to be a passion of yours.
I would definitely say it is at this point in my life. I just love interacting with people, learning their stories, learning how I could be of service to them, because that's what it's all about. I just love being of service. I love to try to figure out solutions. I'm not a doctor, but it's, at the same time, I do understand that the part I play is very crucial into their care.
Mm-hmm. And in those 4 years at NYU Winthrop, you've been in several areas or departments, and they varied, giving you a lot of experiences there. So from line staff member to clinical, and then on to administrative. And can you explain the different areas to us and why you decided to move around a little bit?
So the opportunity was given to me to move around, and I was asked, hey, do you want to check out this department? Do you want to check out that department? So I've worked in our sleep center facility. I've also worked at our radiology facility. That's in another building where we do x-rays and MRIs. And then I work currently in our radiation oncology department where we administer CyberKnife and other types of treatment for cancer. So all these different experiences, I think they give me a greater perspective of the patient experience, and then also they give me a greater perspective on how I can be more of service and where I might fall short in this area, I can be better in, and where I may be stronger in this area, I can bring that to help in other areas. I think it gives me a well-rounded perspective on how to be to provide the best healthcare that I can.
And then you told us that you were recently honored by NYU Winthrop Hospital. Congratulations. And can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So, like I said about the survey, so I got named in it, and then it was published in our newsletter, and so that was pretty cool. And, it's always nice to be recognized for what you're doing, even if you're not out there to gain recognition. It's always nice that somebody decides to say, hey, good job.
Yeah, that's so funny. There's a skit on Saturday Night Live where they do a sort of a game show where they don't recognize their doorman that they see every single day, but they recognize like a celebrity, and it's like a joke. But it's true, because the fact that someone remembered your name and they remembered who you were, and they wrote about it, they felt compelled to do that is so great, because you probably gave them more help than just like the average person there was able to do that.
Definitely.
What are some of the things that you took away from Nassau that you feel has really helped you in this career?
Well, first and foremost, organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
Secondly, I learned hard work. I was at a place in my life when I first started going to Nassau where I thought I was a hard worker, but I didn't really understand how much hard work needs to go into obtaining a goal, such as attaining a degree. And that put so many other things in perspective for me in terms of how hard I could really be working. I've had classes where I thought I deserved one grade and I got another. And what I really liked about Nassau is that the professors were very accommodating, not in terms of the work that they would give us easy work, but that they were willing to sit down and explain. I could email my professors and say, hey, I'm not understanding why I got this grade. And they would be frank with me and tell me what they saw wrong, and they would tell me where I also excelled at. And so I understood, number one, that, not everybody's against you. Right. Sometimes there's just certain things that you just have to work a little harder at, and there's certain things that you're just good at that you're not going to have to work as hard. But at the end of the day, the organization and the dedication, more importantly, is going to still have to be there.
Yeah, it's true. And I think that having the direct contact with the professors helps you also. I mean, especially now with email, because when I was here, there was no email. I don't even know. I think it was either like a little note in their mailbox or a phone call or something. But the fact that the email, even emailing assignments, because sometimes you might say, all right, I worked on this. Could you kind of look at it a little bit before I submit it? And I think that as, we go toward the future in education, higher ed, that's something that individuals are relying upon to get better as students.
I think that one of the excellent is the timeliness with the emailing. I could email my professor, and maybe within an hour, 2 hours, I won't like set a bar there, but pretty quickly they would respond back quickly with feedback or an answer if I had a question, or if I needed help with an assignment, or if I wasn't sure, maybe I missed class that day and I wasn't sure what the assignment was. They would respond back rather quickly.
Any professors that stand out that you remember?
Oh, there's too many to name. There's just too many to name.
That's a wonderful. Did
you have bowling?
No, I didn't.
You did?
No, I didn't. Unfortunately, I learned afterwards. I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah, a lot of our guests always say how much they love bowling.
No.
It's just all the things that Nassau has to offer. People always end up bringing up. Let's see if you're a true Nassau. What are our Nassau colors?
Come on. Orange and navy blue.
Okay, and see, he's like navy.
And they're having a sale right now at the bookstore.
That's right. You are listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Aurora Workman, along with Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Kenny Botchway, class of 2016, and currently working as a patient care representative at New York University Winthrop Hospital. So we have many students today who are older that attend Nassau Community College. They come back for a variety of reasons, and you were in a returning, what we call a non-traditional student, returning back. What prompted your decision to go back? I mean, you were talking about how, you were looking for something. What prompted that decision to come back?
So I was basically at a crossroads where I had kind of reached the highest that I could obtain with my level of education. And so I knew that I had to obtain higher education in order to go further in my career. What brought me to Nassau specifically was I knew some people that had actually attended Nassau, and they spoke so highly of it. And I think that goes very understated sometimes.
Right. Yes, it does.
Not every school is the same, and people.
Right.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They think that if they had a bad experience at one school, then it's kind of a broad. Every school is like this, and Nassau actually wasn't like this.
No, I think you come in again and you want that level of expertise and organization, and it does provide that to you. And we always want to shed positive light on community colleges, and especially Nassau Community College, because it's so available and local, in the surrounding area. I mean, you could get here and it's easy to access and become a student here. And you said while completing your studies, you mentioned that faith and family played a role by providing, so much help and support to you during that time. And how important is that to you?
Oh, it's extremely important. So while I was at Nassau in my 2 years here, I got married and then had a daughter. So first and foremost, it provides you with motivation.
Right. Yeah.
You want to do better if for nobody else but your family.
Yes.
And then more so, it allows you to kind of recenter you. We're so easily able to, go off center and, you become obsessed with work or obsessed with goals to the point where you kind of lose perspective on it. And it kind of brings you back. And my wife was extremely helpful in terms of, just talking me through sometimes if you're stressing about finals week or midterms or an assignment due, you kind of stress out about it. And it's good to have family around that can kind of bring you back and say, all right, just take a deep breath. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that we loved to hear was how you felt about Nassau Community College's amazing resources that also helped you along. And can you tell us about some of the resources that you used, and maybe some of our listeners need to use them as well?
There were quite a few resources. The various tutoring, I kind of felt that in the beginning that I was kind of above that. And I thought that, no, I don't need to do that. I'll figure it out on my own. And eventually I just got to a point where I said, you know what? If the resource is available, if they're offering this counseling or this tutoring session, go for it. Yeah. And it does help a lot, especially in the areas of math. And for me, I really needed it for my sciences. So to have somebody there to put things kind of in another language that you can understand. Sometimes it's not that the teacher's teaching it incorrectly. It's just sometimes you just don't speak the language. And so sometimes
That's
it's
true.
just between the terms and everything, especially a subject like science, sometimes there's terms and stuff like that you just don't understand. And so for somebody else to be able to make it a little bit more understandable, it's not that it wasn't understandable, but just to make it a little bit more understandable, these type of resources, I think they definitely go underutilized and understated.
Yeah, I think it's so helpful too, because if you do have difficulty in a class or you want it to be put in, sort of encapsulate what you need to do, and someone else explaining it to you, it really can help you, especially when it comes to the math and science and studying and knowing the vocabulary. That is something that a lot of students come in and they're just not used to doing it.
Absolutely.
And some of the things that you took away from Nassau, did you remember any great events you attended?
I remember one event in particular. David Banner, who's a rapper, he came to speak on campus, and I got a chance to listen to him and hear his perspective on the world and a lot of racial issues that we're currently going through. And this was 2 years ago, and it's amazing how a lot of them have come to the national spotlight now.
Right. Yeah.
So to hear his thought process on how he processes these events that were going on back then, it was amazing, and it really opened my eyes.
Right. And to sit there and see him, knowing that you saw him live here, and then you turn around on TV and you see him on the very
exactly.
Yeah. He's like, I took my picture with David Banner. I sit there and say, he's playing the preacher.
Yeah.
So, and my kids were like, that's the guy in the picture. A lot of people don't know Nassau Community College brings some really great speakers to its doors for our students and college community to really experience and to get other views in.
Yes.
And that's one of the most exciting things that I think happen here. Well, I'd like to thank our guest, Kenny Botchway, a patient access representative at New York University Winthrop Hospital and a proud alumnus of Nassau Community College. Now, you can tell us where they can find you or Winthrop.
Well, I'm at NYU Winthrop Hospital, that's for sure. Also, I guess Instagram. I don't know.
Instagram.
Yeah. If you want to hear from Kenny, look for him.
Look for him on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Kenny Botchway. Facebook, Kenny Botchway. Yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah, same.
He'll create a Twitter.
Exactly.
At
yeah.
Kenny Botchway. We want to thank you for being with us. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, along with my fabulous friend, Aurora Workman. president of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association. The creative director of Lion Tales is Rudy J. Breedy. This show is a production of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association. Visit nassaucommunitycollege.edu/WHPC for more information. Available as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. Lion Tales is powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. We'll talk to you next week.